Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, don't do unboxings, might do a few playthroughs. But today we are going to count down our top 10 board games of 2024. Let's be honest, it wasn't really a fantastic year, but there were some gems that took us by surprise, and they have all made it onto this list. So remember, if your top 10 board games of 2024 are not on this list, then that's because A, we ain't played them, or B, we think they're complete and utter dog shit. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of our top 10 games of 2024, we're going to give an honourable mention to a game that technically was sort of released, I suppose, in 2024, but it's an iteration of a game that we've already got. It's a game called Carom 360, right? This is a derivative of a game that was in our top 10 board games of all time, a game called Karuka. This is a spin, no pun included. See what I did there? It's basically the game Carom, but stuck on a Karuka table. Right, yeah. The beauty of this is that you can play Karuka if you get the snooker discs, and you can play pool on it as well if you've got the pool discs, but I suppose you can just use snooker discs anyway, can't you? And you can also play Carom on this as well, yeah. So really it's like a 3-in-1 table, right? Had we not played Karuka before, then this would have definitely been in the top 10 games of 2024. But I suppose it'd be cheating, wouldn't it, if we sort of slid this in unlubricated and it invaded our top 10 games. But it's still a fantastic purchase if you are thinking about getting a Karuka table, right? So number 10 on our top 10 games of 2024 is a Euro game that we first saw at the UK Games Expo way back in June of last year, right? This is a game called Windmill Valley, yeah? In this game, you'll be manipulating the flood levels of the floodplain, yeah? And you'll be doing this in order to grow tulips, right? I know it sounds like a bizarre theme, and I suppose it is. You'll be shipping these tulips off to get points, yeah? And the thing that was most inspiring about this game is the way that you got two action wheels, yeah? And they interact together depending on how many rotations they make, yeah? There's loads and loads of different options in this game, yeah? Aside from planting tulips in the field, you can build windmills on the main board, right? There's a big fuck off map on the board, maybe a little bit too big for our liking, yeah? Sort of reminiscent of Orleans, yeah? And you can stick your windmills out, and depending on how adjacent they are to certain things, you're going to get points for that, yeah? You'll be able to score contracts in the usual Euro fare, and this was one of the better Euro games that was released last year, yeah? There wasn't really that many decent Euro games out there, but this one was colourful, it was quite meaty, and it got our brains working like Windy Miller on crack cocaine.
Cider is very good, but it makes people sleepy.
So yeah, Windmill Valley, one of the better Euro games released last year, and that's our number 10, right? So number 9 on our list of our top 10 games of 2024 is a cooperative game called Bomb Busters. No, not Bum Busters. It's not a 2024 version of Fat Fighters, yeah? But it's a game where you're going to be diffusing bombs, yeah? You're going to be cutting wires by trying to guess which tiles have different numbers on it, yeah? Once you get past all the training missions, of which I think there's 8, then you're going to have 48 wires in play, along with some yellow wires and some nasty red wires that you should never cut, yeah? There's 66 different missions in this game, but we just opened all the boxes and thought, fuck it, yeah, there's no point in like going through 66 missions. We just choose which mission we want to do and go from there. But basically what you'll be doing in Bomb Busters, you'll be selecting a wire from one of your colleagues' trays. You'll be trying to guess what number it is, and you'll try and match that with a number that you have on your tray. If you successfully match the number, then you can cut the wire, and once you have cut all of the blue wires and hopefully the yellow wires, you've got to match yellow wires together, then you will pass the mission, yeah? Like we said, there's 66 different missions. They had lots of little nuances, like you might have to do it on a timer, or you might have some extra cards, or a mission might grant you some extra equipment that will help you cut the wires and not blow yourself to fucking smithereens, yeah? Bomb Busters was a pleasant surprise for us. We're not really massive on cooperative games, yeah, but this one was interesting enough to make it onto the top 10. So number 8 on our list of our top 10 games of 2024 is a very, very small card game, and you're going to see a lot of these quicker, easier to play games on this list. It's a game called Courtesans, yeah? In this game, you will be playing a hand of cards onto different areas of the table. You'll have to play all 3 cards that are in your hand, and you can play one to yourself, you can play one to the court, and you'll have to play the other one to another player, yeah? There's different types of suits in this game. They all do different things. You might be able to play a card that will assassinate another card, yeah? And if you end up with cards above the table, then you're going to be at a greater standing with a queen than the players who have got cards at the bottom of the table, yeah? In addition to this, each player is going to get a couple of secret objectives that they're going to be able to complete to get extra points, yes? This adds another load of shit into your porridge bowl. And you've also got the addition of spy cards that will only be revealed at the end of the game. So there's added hidden information there, right? So yeah, Courtesans is a very, very light bluffing deduction game where you're going to be handed a platter of shit and then you'll be able to scrape the fecal matter from that platter and butter somebody else's bread with it, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a really decent, small, easy, accessible game, yeah? So number 7 on this list is a game that I probably can't pronounce, yeah, but I'm going to have a go anyway. It's a game called Tir na Nog. This is a game based on Celtic legends or myths or something like that. But you will have a series of cards laid out in a grid. If there's 2 players, you won't put a card in the middle of the grid. And you will have these little stones called storytellers, and you'll have to place these stones at intersections of where 2 cards meet. Once you've placed the storyteller, you'll be able to take a card, add it to your hand of 5 cards at the beginning of the game. You'll play a card onto either a row or a column of scoring cards, basically. Some cards will have special abilities, like they'll allow you to move cards or change the colour or number of cards, yeah. And once you've done all that, you'll do some scoring, and yeah, the player with the most points wins, you know what I mean? The usual bullshit. This was a very, very intriguing game for us. We read about this on some website somewhere, and it looked mildly interesting. When we actually picked it up, the multiple layers of the strategy you've got to use in order to score points, yeah, was quite engaging, right? Not only have you got to score, I can't pronounce it, is it the Gears cards or something like that? There is a pronunciation guide in the rulebook, but I can't be fucking asked. Someone's going to correct me, right? You've got the main scoring on the 3 cards, plus you've got the area control type thing where different colour cards that are adjacent to each other, if you've got the majority of those, you're going to score points as well. So you're trying to juggle these different scoring possibilities in your head as you're playing a game, right? You add to that the interesting theme, it does make the abstract nature of the game a little bit more palatable. But yeah, Tir na Nog, if I've pronounced that correctly, right, is a surprise hit on my table for this year. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be that good. There's a lot of games like that on this list, ones where we weren't expecting much from them. When we played them, they were pretty good. And if you haven't played this one, it might just float your boat a little bit, you know what I mean? So the next game, number 6 on this list, is a game by Rainer Knizia. It's a game called Cascadero. This smells a little bit like Through the Desert. Yeah, it's got the same sort of thing where you're going to be placing tokens onto a board to make chains between different hexes, yeah? And that's what you're going to be doing. On your turn, you're going to be doing one thing. You're going to be placing a wooden token out onto a hex. And once these tokens have made groups and you've connected a group to a town hex that hasn't been connected to before, you're going to score points, yeah? If somebody else has already been there, then you're going to score more points. When you score points, you're going to be moving these tokens up tracks, and doing this is going to allow you to fulfill achievements that are going to give you proper victory points, yeah, not just scorings on the tracks. The trick with this game, the thing that is fascinating about this game, is that you can't win the game unless you've gone all the way up the track on your colour, yeah? So if you're orange, you're going to have to get to the top of the orange track, otherwise you ain't going to win. Rainer Knizia does it again, yeah? You cannot stop knocking things out of the park. And whilst this is a little bit abstract, like a lot of Rainer Knizia games, yeah, the actual gameplay is simple yet hides a hidden layer of depth in the achievement scoring and the way that you can sort of block players and force players in helping you to connect different cities, right? Cascadero is a delightful game, and I'm just glad Rainer Knizia ain't dead yet, you know what I mean? So number 5 on our list of our top 10 games of 2024 is probably something I'm going to be accused of cheating, yeah? Because it is a 2nd edition, right? But fuck it. It's new to us. We never played the 1st edition, but it's Trickshot 2nd edition. This is kind of like a push your luck sports game, yeah? It's an ice hockey game where you're going to be moving these fantastically painted miniatures around the ice hockey board, and every time you do something, you're going to add an extra die to your die pool. You're going to hope that you don't bust when you do so. Each different type of character's got a sort of special ability. Obviously, the defenders are going to be better at blocking, whereas your sort of striker character is going to be better at scoring goals. And there's a surprising level of strategy for sort of like such a simple push your luck game, yeah? So when you've got some fantastic components, the way the game looks is absolutely stunning, yeah? It's just one of the best looking sports games that we've ever played. And you've got some exciting push your luck aspects that do mirror the flow of an ice hockey game quite well. Then Trickshot 2nd edition, probably one of the best sports games that you can get today, you know what I mean? It's just a shame that we didn't have this when we did a video about sports games a couple of months ago, you know what I mean? But that's my fault, isn't it? Number 4 on our list of our top 10 games of 2024 is a game by Paolo Mori. It's a really simple game, but a really intriguing game. It's a game called Captain Flip. In this game, you're going to be reaching into a bag. You're going to be pulling a tile out of the bag. Then you're going to be placing it on your player board. Before you do that, you're going to decide which side of the tile you're going to place. Yeah, are you going to place it on this side, or are you going to flip the tile and place it on that side? When you place a tile, you're going to get different points based on the character that's on the tile. If you place a swabby, you're going to be getting points for rows of swabbies, and also if you fill a row entirely, then you're going to get bonus points there. There's loads of different player mats in the box. I think there's a promo available, some like Kraken promo, but you can get an extra mat for that. This is crying out for an expansion. Just a shame that a lot of Paolo Mori games don't really entertain many expansions, so you're stuck with the core set with Captain Flip. But it's simple enough, it's engaging enough, and my kids love this game. So yeah, if you haven't played Captain Flip, better go and get it before my kids come around and rip out your fucking eyeballs. So number 3 on our top 10 games of 2024 is a Euro game called Setti. When I told my gaming group I was going to be playing this, they thought it was a game about sofas, but I told them to shut the fuck up, and I said it was a game about finding extraterrestrial life, yeah? In Setti, you will be sending probes out into people's anuses, or is that ani? You'll be sending probes out into the solar system, and they're going to be orbiting different planets, and then eventually you're going to be able to land those orbiters on planets, and you're going to get points that way, yeah? You're going to have a massive fuck-off deck of cards bigger than Trump Towers, and you're going to be able to use these in different ways. Yeah, you might be able to trade them in to get different resources. You might be able to use the actual ability on a card, or you might be able to use them to move your probe around the solar system. Yeah, in the final third of the game, you're going to be revealing an alien life form that's going to change the game radically, sometimes a little bit too radically, yeah, because you do get settled into a routine with this game, and then suddenly it gets disrupted. Some people don't like that. I thought it was a fucking stroke of genius. But yeah, there's only, I think there's 5 aliens in the box. Yeah, there needs to be more than that. Yeah, because once you get a grip on it, that sort of big reveal that takes people's breath away. You don't really get that after like 5 or 6 plays. Yeah, so I'm hoping that Czech Games Edition release an expansion for Setti this year with more alien species and more stuff. But as it stands, Setti is probably the best Euro game that was released last year. And if you're a Euro games enthusiast and you haven't played Setti, you got to fucking ask yourself why not, ain't you? So number 2 on our list of our top 10 games of 2024 is a game that's caught a little bit of controversy this year. It's a game called Joyride, or the version that we got, Joyride Turbo. It's all the expansion shit in the box. Powerboats is one of our favourite games of all time, yeah. If you're a long time viewer of this channel, you know how much I admire powerboats, and I'm not going to go into it now, but apparently this game sort of ripped off the idea behind powerboats and re-implemented it into Joyride without the original designer's permission or something like that. But we'll go into it when we actually do the full review of Joyride, yeah? But in Joyride, you'll be driving a cart around a sort of Mad Maxian post-apocalyptic arena. You'll be using dice to move your car, but you'll be deciding to sort of push your luck a little bit by adding or taking dice away from your dice pool, yeah? You'll be able to add weapons to your car, you'll be able to target other cars, and there's no real set sort of track in this. As long as you go through different checkpoints, you can take whichever route you like, yeah? So there's a way of avoiding the other players' rocket launchers that are aimed at your arsehole. Joyride is such a thematic game, yeah. It looks like a cross between Fallen Land and Borderlands, you know. The components are absolutely astonishing, and there's so many different options in this box that for the, I think there's 100 quid we paid for Joyride Turbo. Yeah, I know it sounds like a lot, but you're just going to get so much bang for your buck, yeah. It's the best racing game that's been released this year. Whether or not it's ridden on the coattails of previous iterations is for another day, but if you are looking for a decent racer that allows you to blow the fuck out of people sitting opposite you, then this has got to be worth a look at it. So number 1, the best game of 2024, in our humble opinion, is a game by Awaken Realms. It's a game called Stalker, yeah? This is a game that's based on a video game. The video game was based on a 1979 Soviet movie called Stalker, and that film was based on a 1960s book called Roadside Picnic, yeah? In Stalker, you're going to be running around a post-apocalyptic landscape called the Zone, yeah? Loosely based on sort of the Chernobyl area in the former Soviet Union, yeah? I'm not going to spoil anything different because it is a story-driven game. But at the beginning, you're going to be looking for a specific person, and you're going to have to sort of sneak around a little bit. You're going to be entering different buildings, and the terrain is going to change by way of cards being revealed that alter the environment. Yeah, so you might walk into a shed, for instance, and it looks fine. Yeah, you walk over a certain space, and the game will tell you to add another card on top as an overlay on the board, and then you'll see that the floor collapses and you fall into a pit trap or something like that. Do you know what I mean? As with all of Awaken Realms previous games, the component quality is absolutely stunning. Yeah, they've done a fantastic job of giving you a huge variety of weapons and equipment, and they've crafted a riveting narrative on top of a fantastic skirmish game as well. Yeah, we weren't big fans of Nemesis, largely because of the player elimination, and when we picked up Stalker, I don't know, I wasn't really expecting much from this here. I was thinking it was just going to be sort of like a Nemesis clone, but it was a completely different game. I was not prepared for how good Stalker actually was, and in terms of immersiveness and atmosphere, this is hands down the best game that we have played in 2024. So there you go, that is our top 10 games of 2024. Stalker is the king of the hill for this year. Tell us what your top 10 games of 2024 are. Do you agree with any games on this list? Let us know if we've missed anything out. Let us know if there's anything that we should pick up for review this year. So after this, we're going to get back to our usual bullshit of normal reviews, and if I can be fucking bothered, I'll get my cameras out and we might film a few playthroughs just for a laugh. Yeah, so there you go, that is our top 10 games of 2024, done and dusted for another year, and thankfully we're going back to our bread and butter, which is no bullshit, honest board game reviews. Right, see you next Tuesday.